comms officer was the first to notice the delay. The human delegation was scheduled to arrive at 8 o'clock Galactic Standard Time, and it was already 8:12. No signal, no apology, just silence from the Terran vessel. The insectoid diplomats shuffled nervously, their antennae twitching in irritation. Protocol dictated that all first contact missions were punctual. This was not just a diplomatic meeting, it was an event watched by millions across the system. Humanity had been accepted into the galactic fold, and this reception was meant to be their grand entrance. At 9:47, something emerged from hyperspace. It wasn't the sleek diplomatic cruiser expected. It was a warship scarred, half its hull blackened with burn marks, parts of the armor plating missing entirely. Bloodstains smeared the outer panels, though no one could tell if they were human or someone else's. There was no greeting transmission, no identification ping, just the cold, silent approach of a vessel that looked like it had survived hell. "Open hailing frequencies," the lead diplomat ordered. No response. They tried again and again. Nothing. Then, without warning, the ship dropped anchor in low orbit and launched 3 drop pods toward the surface. Not shuttles. Drop pods, designed for rapid insertion into hostile territory. The alien command center erupted into chaos. What are they doing? They're not supposed to land yet. That's not protocol. Scan them. Scan everything. The pods landed with precision, too much precision, each touching down within 50 meters of the designated landing zone. Moments later, figures in full combat gear emerged, weapons raised, scanning the perimeter as if expecting an ambush. Their suits were scorched, some patched with what looked like emergency sealant foam. One soldier limped slightly, but kept pace with the others. A voice crackled over the open channel. "This is Lieutenant Vance of the UNSC Echo Team. We're coming in hot. Do not move." The aliens complied, stunned. Vance approached the main delegation, his visor reflecting the pale morning light. His voice was hoarse, tired, but sharp. "We were attacked en route. Lost 3 ships. We need to know if this system has seen hostiles in the last 72 hours. The lead diplomat blinked. What? No, there have been no attacks. We don't even have active defense fleets here." Vance exhaled sharply, glancing back at his squad. They didn't lower their weapons. "Then we've got a problem." He turned to one of his men. "Set up perimeter. I want eyes on every exit. If anything moves faster than a breeze, you light it up." The soldiers sprang into action, moving with mechanical efficiency. They ignored the formal greetings prepared for them, bypassed the ceremonial banners, and began securing the area like it was a war zone. One of the younger diplomats stepped forward, trembling. "This isn't how first contact is supposed to go." Vance looked at him, then around at the confusion, the fear, the broken expectations. "No," he said, voice dry, "it's not." Then he pulled off his helmet. His face was streaked with soot, his left eye bruised, and his lips cracked. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in days. But welcome to humanity. The air was thick with confusion. Vance hadn't come here to make friends, and it showed. His team moved like clockwork, scanning for threats, securing key positions, overriding local systems under the pretense of safety checks. The aliens didn't know whether they were guests or prisoners. One of them, a tall, avian diplomat named Kethra, stepped forward again. Her feathers bristled with irritation. "We have done nothing to provoke this hostility," she said, her voice clipped. "You arrived late, unannounced and armed. We honored your species with an invitation to join the Galactic Concord. This is not how peaceful first contact is conducted." Vance looked at her without blinking. "Peaceful?" He let out a short, dry laugh. "We got jumped by something that wasn't you, wasn't us, and wasn't in any of our records. We lost half our fleet getting here. Forgive me if I'm not in the mood to assume everyone's playing nice." Kethra flared her wings. "You insult us with suspicion." Before Vance could respond, one of his techs interrupted. "Lieutenant, we've got movement near the eastern perimeter. Thermal signatures. Small, fast." Vance turned sharply. "Identify." Local wildlife, the tech confirmed after a second. Nothing hostile. Vance nodded once. Keep watching it. Kethra took another step forward. You are treating us like enemies. You keep saying that, Vance replied. Problem is, last time we trusted someone before verifying their story, we ended up walking into an ambush that vaporized 3 ships and 200 people. A beat of silence followed. Then Kethra made what seemed like a simple gesture, raising her wings slightly as if to calm the tension. A soldier reacted instantly. The rifle came up. A stun round fired point blank. Kethra dropped like a stone. Panic exploded. Aliens screamed. Security forces scrambled. Vance spun toward the shooter. What the hell was that? The soldier didn't lower his weapon. She moved suddenly. Could have been a signal. She sneezed, Private. Vance snapped. The alien leader, High Minister Tvash, surged forward, eyes blazing. You shoot our ambassador and expect explanation? Vance raised both hands. Stand down. Everyone, stand down now. His team obeyed. The aliens hesitated, then held position. Tvash pointed a clawed finger at Vance. This was an act of war. No, Vance said flatly. It was protocol. He crouched beside Kethra, checking her vitals. She was stunned but alive. I don't blame you for being angry, he said, standing. But understand this, we don't take chances. Not anymore. If you want trust, earn it. Fast. Tvash's beak clicked shut. And if we refuse? Vance looked around. At the ruined expectations, the broken ceremony, the fear in every pair of alien eyes. Then maybe we're not the most dangerous thing in this room. The silence that followed was thick with tension, but it didn't last. A sudden, piercing alarm shattered the air, sharp, mechanical, and urgent. Every alien head snapped toward the command console behind them. Lights flashed red. Warnings scrolled across the screen in rapid-fire glyphs. Tvash turned to his aides. Report. One of them trembled as he read the data. Something just dropped out of hyperspace. Massive signatures. Unknown origin. Vance was already moving before the words finished. He grabbed his comms. Tech team, pull up orbital scans. Now. A second later, a voice crackled back. Sir, you're not going to like this. The main display flickered to life, showing a tactical overlay of space above the planet. And there it was. A fleet. No, an armada. Dozens of massive ships, sleek and black. No visible markings or propulsion trails. They moved like shadows against the stars, silent and terrifying. Vance's stomach twisted. That's them. Kethra had just regained consciousness, groggy from the stun blast. She looked at the screen and paled. What is that? That, Vance said grimly, is what's left of our convoy. He turned to Tvash. You don't know them? The alien diplomat shook his head slowly. We've never seen anything like this in our records. No transmissions. No identification. Just arrival. Vance cursed under his breath. They don't talk. They don't negotiate. They just kill. Panic spread among the alien ranks. Some scrambled for evacuation protocols. Others stared at the screen in horror. Vance took control. Listen up. If we don't act now, that thing on your sky is going to glass this planet before breakfast. Tvash hesitated. And what do you propose? Vance cracked his neck. We fight. Without waiting for approval, he barked into his comms. Launch all fighters. Deploy orbital defense platforms. I want every weapon system online, even the jury-rigged ones. We're not losing another world today. His team sprang into action, moving with ruthless efficiency. They accessed the local defense grid, bypassing layers of bureaucratic firewalls in seconds. Human code merged with alien systems, overriding protocols designed to prevent unauthorized use. Tvash's aide gasped. You're seizing control of our planetary defenses? Vance didn't even look at him. Call it borrowing with intent to return. Outside, the first wave of enemy drones descended. The humans met them with everything they had. Lasers lit up the sky. Missiles roared into orbit. Fighters dove and twisted through the chaos, scoring kills with precision strikes. And amidst it all, one pilot, Commander Elena Reyes, dove straight into the heart of an enemy capital ship. Her final transmission came through loud and clear. "This is Commander Reyes. Tell my family I went down swinging." Then she hit full throttle and detonated her reactor inside the enemy core. The explosion lit up the sky like a second sun. And for the first time, the enemy withdrew. The silence after the battle was heavier than the noise before it. Smoke curled from scorched launch pads. Fighters lay in pieces across the skyports. The enemy had retreated, but not without cost. Vance stood at the edge of the command center, his helmet off, staring up at the sky where the last of the alien warships had vanished. His suit was torn, his face lined with exhaustion. Around him, the aliens, those who hadn't fled, watched in stunned disbelief. Tvash approached slowly, his feathers dulled by soot and shock. "You fought like gods," he said quietly. "Or monsters." Vance exhaled through his nose. "Just doing our job." "You came here late," Kethra said, standing beside her leader. Her voice was softer now, no longer sharp with anger. "Bloody. Uninvited." Vance gave a tired smirk. "Classic us." The High Minister looked around at the wreckage, then back at Vance. "We were afraid of you, thought you were reckless, violent, a threat." "We are all those things," Vance admitted, "but we're also the ones still standing when everything else burns." A moment passed, then Tvash extended a clawed hand. "Then perhaps it is time we redefined what first contact means." Vance took the hand, firm and unflinching. Across the system, footage of the battle spread like wildfire. Not just among the natives, but beyond. Galactic networks picked it up, rebroadcasting images of human fighters diving into certain death, of soldiers securing alien cities without hesitation, of one woman turning herself into a weapon to save millions. Quotes began circulating. Memes, battle cries. The phrase "Classic us" became legend. Days later, Vance stood on the same landing field, this time surrounded not by weapons teams, but diplomats. The Galactic Concord had fast-tracked humanity's full membership, not out of fear, but out of respect. One of the younger alien officers approached him, hesitating before speaking. "You know, some still think you're dangerous." Vance nodded. "They're not wrong, but they also say you're the best thing to happen to the Concord in centuries." Vance chuckled. "Tell them we'll try not to break anything." Much. As the sun set behind the ruined banners of the original ceremony, Vance looked out over the city that had nearly burned and didn't. Humanity had arrived not with speeches or smiles, but with fire and steel. And somehow that felt right, because that was humanity. Not perfect, not polite, but always there when it mattered.